Hi guys, welcome back to New Feathers. Today I'm going to show you the flip through of my 2021 book journal. This journal is going to be quite different from the ones you'll find on YouTube because I didn't track my reading or put in any stats or TBR in this journal. In fact, I read only 18 books, so I didn't need to. My book journal consists of just the quotes and passages that I loved from the books I read. So let's get started with the video. I made a couple of bookmarks inspired by the book spreads of this journal. The first bookmark has these peach blossoms on it, and it was inspired by the webtoon Delusion. The other bookmark was inspired by Reskin Bond's novella The Blue Umbrella. It has a quote on the back by Andre Letria which says, "The book, an umbrella against ignorance." Oh, and the journal that I'm using for this was made by myself, and I have already uploaded the video, so do check it out. I will link it above. Now for the first page, I put down a quote by Theodore Roosevelt. "I am a part of everything that I have read," which I think applies to me. The first book that I read last year was The Visitor. It was a thriller book that I really enjoyed. It was my second book by Cale Slater, and for the spread I put down all the quotes that I loved from this book, and I kept it really simple. The Girl Before by Rana Olsen is a psychological thriller about human trafficking. I loved this book and I was hooked right from the first page. I would definitely recommend it. On to my most favorite. Spirit Fingers by Han Kyung-chul was the best thing that I read in 2021. It was so warm, so wholesome. It was just fantastic, and it is about this high school student, Amy Song, who joins a Croquis club called Spirit Fingers. This Red Finger spread is my second favorite spread from this entire book journal. These spreads might not be very clear in this video, so I have posted pictures of them on the Instagram. You guys can check it out if you want to. I will put the link in the description box. The next book that I read was The Blue Umbrella by Reskin Bond, and for this spread I drew the blue umbrella on a valley of blue flowers. The next spread was for And Then There Were None. For this I wrote down the entire poem on a brown paper, and then I cut it up in 10 parts for 10 stanzas, and I pasted the first stanza on the first page and the last stanza on the last page, which was also the title. I wrote down some memorable quotes on black paper and I pasted them in between the stanzas. The next book that I read was The Night Sister by Jennifer Mcmahon. For this I wrote down the poem that appears in the book on a crumpled sheet of paper. I really liked the poem and I loved the way this spread turned out. For the next page of the spread, I drew the Tower Motel, which plays a significant role in the story, and wrote down some quotes from the book. Now on to the next spread, Delusion, which was another webtoon that I read, and it was also the best vampire story I've ever read, and the artwork of this webtoon is just breathtaking. The next book that I read was Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. Even though this is a children's book, it had so many good quotes that apply to adult life also. I especially like this one, "Never hurry and never worry," because I need to learn not to worry too much. I also feel that the spiders on the Delusion spread and the spider webs on the Charlotte's Web spread really go together. Some more spider webs. The next book that I read was a thriller, The New Girl by Ingrid Alexandria. A good part of this book is taken up by the diary entries of the main character, which inspired this spread. I wrote down the quotes on diary pages before I tore them up and I pasted them. And I also pasted some dried rose petals on this spread. The Tiny Book of Tiny Stories Part 2 by Joseph Gordon-Levitt was the next book that I read. The next spread was for The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. This scrapbook style spread is a Franz Kafka quotes page and is one of my most favorite spread of this entire book journal. I wrote down a few selected Kafka quotes. I especially like this one: "I never wish to be defined easily." The next spreads are The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins and The Reckoning by John Grisham. The next spreads are The Gaze of the Horrified Heirs by Earl Stanley Gardner and The Empty House by Algernon Blackwood, which was a collection of short horror stories compiled by Reskin. For the Empty House spread, I made some old-fashioned scrolls and wrote down some passages on them from the book. The next book was Hercule Poirot's Christmas by Agatha Christie, and this spread is inspired by the cover of the book. To make this spread, I punched a bunch of holes on black and red sheets and I pasted those little holes on this page. And on the next 2 pages, I wrote down all my favorite passages from the book, and there were a plenty of them. So that was the last book that I read in 2021. I know it was only a few books, but I really enjoyed making this book journal, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as well. Bye guys.